Surf Forum in downtown Milwaukee is the 12th ranked Marquette Golden Eagles look for their 6th straight win against DePaul. And we're welcoming you courtside, everybody, along with Stephen Howard, Jeff Levering with you. What a great matchup we've got here going tonight. Of course, Marquette, winners of 5 in a row in Big East play. DePaul has played great basketball, winners of 3 of their last 4. For DePaul, you know about Max Strus. You know about Eli Kane. You don't know about their front line that's playing so great right now.
Yeah, Jeff, it's their big 3. You got Femi Alujabi, Jalen Butts, and Paul Reed. And very interesting challenge. No other Big East team has that. Theo John for Marquette, he's going to have his hands full. He does lead the Big East in blocks. They're going to need all of those tonight.
Take a look at our starting lineups. They're presented by Jeep Grand Cherokee. Of course, Theo John and the Hauser brothers are going to have their hands full. But Paul Reed, again, we talked about him. He has had 3 straight games worth of double-doubles.
Yeah, he's coming off 21 points, 14 rebounds last game. The interesting thing, though, is they never run a play for him. He's that X-factor, broken play player. For me, the best out-of-the-area rebounder in college basketball.
Theo John has got to stay on the floor in order for Marquette to stay in this ballgame with DePaul.
Marquette is such a different basketball team with Ed Morrow on the court. Not that he's a bad player, but Theo John is an elite rim protector. They need him on the court at least for 30 minutes tonight.
We've been on the air almost a minute. We haven't even talked about Marcus Howard yet.
Who?
Exactly. Marcus Howard, who's back on the floor, started over the weekend in the win against Providence on Sunday. He's got the basketball. Pink shoes for most of the Marquette players today. Suits and sneakers week all around the country.
I like him, though. Could you rock the pink shoes like that?
Not looking as good, I tell you that much. Sam Hauser, the reigning Big East Player of the Week, going to work early, and he missed his first shot, and the rebound to Femi Alujabi, and here come the Blue Demons on offense. Max Strus, another outstanding scorer in Big East Conference play. Don't even talk about Eli Kane as much, but still a very dynamic scorer. Paul Reed from the top of the key, and he misses his first opportunity.
Not a good look for DePaul starting out with Paul Reed shooting from 3. You like him more on the interior, especially with his length and athleticism.
Swinging around to Joey Hauser from the corner with Paul Reed on him. All that length. And a turnover. Trying to get it to Theo John, in and out of his hands. Femi Alujabi getting his hands on everything so far. He turned his game around once conference play arrived at the beginning of the year as well for DePaul. Femi Alujabi, the transfer from North Carolina A&T. Give it to him down low on the post on John. And his jumper off the front of the iron. Rebound, Sam Hauser.
Now, Marquette worked in shoot-around. They're going to double the bigs for DePaul every time they get in the block.
2 straight turnovers after the travel by Joey Hauser. There is Steve Wojciechowski. He knows what a different team this DePaul team is coming into this ball game today. But right now, the highest Marquette has been ranked in his tenure at 12th in the country. Gage trying to get around the corner, and Theo John gets his first block of the evening.
And another poor offensive possession for DePaul, and another turnover by Marquette. Very sloppy basketball to start this game.
3 turnovers. That pass intended for Hauser. Now a 3 is buried in the corner.
Coach Wojo and his coaching staff, all during shoot-around. Who do we have awareness for? Strus. Who do we have to know in defensive transition? Strus. 4th possession of the game, they forgot about him, and Strus made him pay.
2 minutes in, no buckets for Marquette. Off to a little bit of a slow start over the weekend against Providence. And then we're outstanding in the second half. There's Joey Hauser finally on the board of the Golden Eagles.
Same thing for the Blue Demons during their scouting. Look, both of the Hauser brothers, you can't lose them, particularly in transition.
Go down low, Paul Reed on Joey Hauser going around the corner. Whistles. And a walk on Paul Reed. Kind of a delayed call from the officials, but a turnover for DePaul. Dave Lato has his Blue Demons playing as well as they've played in probably the last 5 years, to say the least. He is really impressed with the way that DePaul is going out there each and every night.
Yeah, I like their competitiveness and really the way that they've rallied during Big East play.
Sam Hauser short, tapped over to Eli Kane. And DePaul And an even 500 in conference play. 4 wins last year in the Big East. Paul Reed gets his first shot to go down.
Now, Jeff, on that last possession, if you notice, they doubled Strus when he got the ball close to the paint. Strus, a very good passer, got it to Paul Reed. But DePaul's going to have to contend with that all game long.
Get a foul on Devin Gage. Sakar Adam.
Now, look, they're going to come from the top side, and you're going to see Hauser really get big with the high hands. But Paul Reed, again, broken play player, able to make it happen in the paint.
Just a sophomore, and he's really come a long way with his game. Paul Reed from Florida. Adam from the free throw line over the top of Strus. Theo John cleans up the rebound. Stripped away. It's going to stay with Marquette.
I like it by Theo John, and I really do believe they're going to have to start feeding Theo John more. I mean, the type of work he does for them defensively, protecting the rim, you got to give him some love in the paint.
14 blocks, by the way, on the defensive end for Theo John over his last 5 games, tonight included. Monster game at Georgetown last week and a big win on the road in D.C.
And you're watching DePaul switching when they have perimeter players on Marcus Howard.
There's Sakar Adam. It was altered. Theo John couldn't hit it, and he is down on the other end of the floor. Devin Gage pushing the tempo, and Gage with the layup.
Now, that's what I like when Gage is aggressive. When you have it in transition, you have a lane. He's a down-here player. He can go north to south, really as good as anyone in the Big East.
Theo John still feeling that on his backside. Eli Kane disrupting things for Marcus Howard.
When you get it in the paint versus DePaul, you have to shoot quick because they're really good at rim protecting.
Tough shot. Marcus Howard finished a little up and under.
And that's what they're trying to accomplish against Marcus Howard. They want him to have to finish over length. He's too adept of a scorer and able to make that happen on that possession.
One of the best shot creators. And Theo John not at Fiserv.
Man, he beat that like somebody stole something.
Howard lets him breeze right by. Marcus Howard short. Olujubi gathers. Not only did he get the block, Theo John, he also knocked Paul Reed to the floor. Not an easy thing to do.
When a player blocks your shot like that, the opposing team feels it.
Tough shot. Nice defense by Sam Hauser. It's out of bounds. It's going to stay with Marquette. Good one so far. 2-point lead for DePaul on the road. Devin Gage needs to facilitate a bit.
Yeah, hey, north and south, taking it all the way to the rim. Nice other hand, and Marcus Howard's getting in his face. It doesn't matter. He's one of the best in the country. Buckets.
Hoops on FS1 is sponsored by Jeep Grand Cherokee. The rafters of the brand new Fiserv Forum. Trying to get back to the Final Four for the first time. Still 3 for Marquette. They're in good shape right now in the conference, Stephen, though. 12th in the country, 5-1 in the Big East, but don't look too far back to Paul trying to get over 500 for the first time in a while.
Yeah, and that's how many wins they had last season in the Big East with 4, trying to get that quickly. And it's interesting about this Blue Demon squad. They're more comfortable on the road with 2 of those wins on the road, one versus St. John's and the last versus Seton Hall.
Swept the season series against Seton Hall this year, one down in Chicago, and then one out in Jersey over the weekend.
Got out the broom.
Yep. Not an easy team to try and do that to with Miles Powell. We called that game against Seton Hall. It was a wild one down to the finish.
I mean, to say that you swept any team in the Big East, I really think is something.
There's so much parity in the league this year. So Providence earlier take down Xavier in Cincinnati. That just doesn't happen. Joey Hauser, deep 3. And the rebound controlled by Gage.
Now you're watching on defense, DePaul. They're doing a soft and a hard hedge, staying with it until Marcus Howard gets rid of the rock.
Paul Reed running into Joey Hauser. He's done a pretty good job on Reed so far. Jalen Butts on the floor for the first time for DePaul.
The fact that Femi Olujubi left the game without any touches on the paint and hadn't scored is a good sign for Marquette.
Wide open look, Eli Kane too strong. Jalen Butts doing what he does best, offensive rebound, but he turned it over.
Marquette's done a great job of really forcing DePaul out of the way they want to play the game and making it more up-tempo.
Joey Hauser stops and pops from the corner, and Marquette has the lead.
Talking to Coach Woj in shoot-around today, that's what they want to do, get up in transition and get their shooters, Sam and Joey Hauser, and get them loose.
And Joey with a couple of threes has 6 points. Freshman of the week in the Big East. He and his brother Sam sweeping the awards. First time a brother combination has ever done that. Theo John altered the shot, but a foul before it. Joey Hauser, such a weapon and just a freshman.
Yeah, and you look at how he's shooting, particularly in Big East play. 44.4%. That's top 11 in the Big East, only in Big East play. And look, as a freshman, I feel like they need him to be more aggressive. His brother as well, in order to be more of a complete basketball team.
Paul Reed has only missed one free throw in his last 6 games as Brendan Bailey and Ed Morrow check in for Hauser, Sam Hauser, and Theo John. Good to have Morrow back. Missed a game because of an ankle injury that was last week in Washington, D.C. against Georgetown. And Reed makes 1 out of 2. I jinxed him.
I like that substitution of Theo John for Morrow because you have Femi Alujibi out and giving him some rest, but looks like Femi is trying to come back in.
Howard, nice little teardrop over the top of Kane.
I was talking to an NBA front office personnel earlier today, and they said of Marcus Howard that he's a bad shot taker and a bad shot maker, and that was one of those on that possession.
Able to create in so many different ways, and when he gets hot, that rim is huge. Paul Reed from the top of the key knocks down a bucket. Ties the game 10 apiece.
Marquette's going to give him that shot, and he's shown the ability to make it, but really not on a consistent basis.
55% from the floor this year for Paul Reed. Most of his stuff from down low. Strus got the entry pass from Bailey. That's the 4th turnover for the Golden Eagles. Inside, Butts on Morrow. And Jalen Butts knocks nice soft touch.
And Jeff, there's that three-headed offensive monster for DePaul. You have Jalen Butts, Femi Alujibi, and Paul Reed. They go at you in waves on the interior. Very difficult, really, to defend.
Kind of harkens back to the Big East of old.
Right.
The big man, that's where it all started. Joey Hauser rimmed in and out. And then Jalen Butts hangs on to it.
Like Georgetown, you had Mutombo and Dikembe. They were kind of good.
Yeah. Nice spin move by Eli Kane. Yeah, that run of Ewing and Mourning.
Yeah.
Morrow backing into Butts. Morrow, nice little shot inside the paint. Picking up his offensive bid, a bruiser, transfer from Nebraska, sat out last year. Simeon High School in Chicago.
You're going to notice with Strus, every time he gets in the post, they want to front him and force him out. They want him to give up position for possession, and they're forcing him to do that.
Lyric Schreiner running the post, left hand, tough shot for the transfer.
Now, Schreiner played exceptionally well against Seton Hall, hit a huge 3 under 4 minutes, and you're seeing him gain the trust of Coach Lato.
Season high 9 points last time out. Another turnover by Marquette, their 5th.
And when you see Coach Wojciechowski look up at the stat monitor, that's uncharacteristic of this Marquette basketball team.
A mismatch right now with Howard on Paul Reed in the post. Eli Kane's step back jumper, too strong. Sakar Anum skies for the rebound.
Marquette averages a little under 15 turnovers a game already with 5. They're going to need to really take care of the ball.
Offensive rebound by Morrow, no. Morrow still trying to battle, and Eli Kane comes away with it. Marquette, very cool to start, just 5 for 14 from the floor.
I still think that this tempo favors Marquette. More up and down, allows them to get the ball to their shooters. Marcus Howard, Sam, and Joey Hauser.
Tough matchup right now for Brendan Bailey on Max Strus. Nice move by Paul Reed, but an offensive foul. They got a lot of space. Hooked his arm a bit, but DePaul on the road, and Lyric Schreiner getting it done for the Blue Demons. Blue Demons on the road in downtown Milwaukee, and moments ago we had an opportunity to get inside the huddle with Dave Lato.
All you perimeter guys, when you catch it, don't survey. Make a play. Make a play. You're waiting. They settle back. And now, all right, you guys, yeah, we want to get the ball inside, but now you're letting everybody in the building know you want to go inside. Catch it, shot fake, do whatever, drive right by. When you go quick, you're going to get hands on you.
And Coach Ledo wants them to play intuitively. Now they're thinking, hey, we got to get inside, and that's allowing Marquette to adjust. Play basketball. When you get to that level, when you're just flowing and you're playing on that intuitive level, that's when DePaul is at their best. Look, they know you want to go inside, but don't force it in there. If it's open, play your game. Just play basketball.
Olujibi and Butts down on the front line now for DePaul with his 4-point lead on the road. Just under 10.5 to play in this first half. Joseph Chartouni on the floor for the first time for the Golden Eagles as well. Running the point for Marquette. Sam Hauser trying to drive.
Yeah, look for Sam Hauser to be aggressive with Jalen Butts on him.
Tough shot by Brendan Bailey. Had Max Strus' hand right in his face. Brendan Bailey was key against Georgetown last week, and now forces a steal. 2-on-1 up ahead. Sakaranum. And a block to the backside by Max Strus. Great hustle.
That's one of the things I love about Max Strus is he's not only a shooter, but he will get there on defense and do a lot of different things. Poor shot, though, right there. You saw him kind of stutter his feet. Didn't get square to the basket and didn't have his shoulder square either. And not too many shooters can correct that mistake while in shot.
Just a slight hesitation made all the difference. Chartouni finding open man. Sam Hauser. And Sam off the mark just a touch. Sam 0 for his first 3 from the floor. And an offensive foul. Jalen Butts trying to get position in the low post. And now a technical foul on Butts. Didn't seem like he did a lot.
Yeah, but sometimes it doesn't take a lot.
And Dave Ledo not pleased with the technical. You get the personal, but maybe not the technical. Oh, it was the basketball on his chest?
Yeah, now that's... I mean, if that's a technical foul, I mean, look, there's no harder job out there than being an official, but you kind of have to put the game above you. In that scenario, you know, de-escalate. Just, you know, let it play.
Waiting for some subs to come in. Jalen Butts is going to go to the bench, cool off, and now a technical has been assessed to Dave Ledo, and his entire coaching staff is going to try and defuse this. And you have the top free throw shooter in the conference at the line with 3 points available.
You know, this is just the officials just trying to set the tone, and they don't want any talking from anyone.
Dave Ledo has picked up a couple of technicals earlier on in the season. Got into it with a player from Chicago State right at the end of the ball game. Admitted after the fact, probably shouldn't have said anything, kind of let my emotions get into play as well, trying to get the culture where it wants to be. But for Dave Ledo, just sticking up for his teammate and his player.
And this is a big swing. DePaul was up, what, 4 before this happened? And you get the offensive foul by Jalen Butts, the technical, and then the technical on Coach Ledo. Those are the type of momentum swings, particularly when you're on the road, against a top 15 team in the country that you just can't have.
Could be a 7-point swing if Marquette knocks down a 3.
Yeah, I was going to let you do all the complicated math.
I can only get to double digits, then I'm done. That's all I got. Go down low to Theo John, backing down on Butts, knocked out of bounds. Is going to stay with Marquette.
And you see Devin Gage dig the ball out while he's playing Chartouni. Not really afraid of Chartouni from distance right now because he's struggling from the three-point line.
Hand off to Marcus Howard going around the corner. And a one-on-one game here for Marcus.
But you saw the way Paul Reed stayed with him until he got to the three-point line.
And a travel on Marcus Howard before anything, trying to sell a foul on Lyric Schreiner, but he walked before it.
Yeah, and that's a bad offensive possession for Marquette and for Marcus Howard. You see him trying to do a little, wow, that was that James Harden step right there.
James Harden got away with it, but subsequently Steph Curry and Marcus Howard haven't got away with it.
Harden got away with it twice in one possession. He did 2 of them.
Now the college game. 16 all. Just over 8.5 minutes to play in the first half. Paul Reed hands it off to Alujabi. Alujabi spinning around on Theo John. Tough shot finished by Alujabi.
And that's what DePaul needs to do. A couple possessions, go straight to Femi Alujabi. He's had 20 points in the last 2 games.
His first points of the night. Hauser turned it over. Joey with his 3rd turnover. 7th overall for Marquette.
How many steals does Devin Gage have early in this game? Seems like his hands are on everything.
That was a tough shot by Paul Reed, trying to do a little bit too much.
Tough shot is another way of saying bad shot.
I'll let you say that one.
extremely bad shot.
High degree of difficulty. Howard looking down low. Theo John. Paul Reed off balance, took advantage of it.
And again, you have to feed Theo John for what he does for this team. Give him some love in the paint. He's very adept at scoring once he gets it that low.
Howard with a rebound over the top of Alujabi. Chance to take the lead from Marquette.
But again, you notice they go away from Alujabi. You gotta make him a focal point offensively.
Sam Hauser too strong, still without a bucket in this one for Sam. He's 0 for 4. Marquette is 2 of 7 from beyond the arc. One of the best three-point shooting teams in the conference. 38%. Devin Gage trying to shake Chartouni. Through the screen, there's Gage. And a rimmed in and out for him. That's not necessarily his game.
No, it's not. And that was an opportunity to, again, go inside and go to your bread and butter.
Advantage on the other end. Joey Hauser too strong on his shot. Paul Reed was face down on the other side of the floor now, walking up with Devin Gage. Trying to get on the same page, and Dave Lato wants a timeout. They look a little gassed out there for DePaul, but Marquette and DePaul fiercely into it. 18-18. Theo John, need more of this.
Hey, give it to the big fella down low. Let him do his work. Lato, look, I think he needs some more gun. That one does not have enough length.
Marquette being led so far tonight by Marcus Howard. He's got 8 points, 4 of those from the free throw stripe, and he is having some kind of historic season, Stephen. It was D-Wade Day over the weekend. 21.5 points. Bob Wolf back at 65, 66, 22. Tony Smith, he's in the house. 23 points. Marcus Howard, though, this year averaging almost 24.5 points per game, and that's with a big goose egg in just 3 minutes against Georgetown last week.
Yeah, I mean, he's scoring at a rate unheard of. In the last 20 years in Division I, no player has had multiple 50-point games in 20 years. So playing at a rate that I think he's a must-see player. There's a couple players that are must-see players, Zion Williamson and, for me, Marcus Howard.
Howard with that 53-point game at Creighton earlier this year. Most points ever scored in a single game in Big East history. He's also put up a couple of games of 45. One on this floor against Kansas State December 1st, and then a couple of weeks later against Buffalo. Eli Kane got fouled. Count the bucket. He'll go to the line.
Well-designed play by DePaul after that timeout to get Eli Kane in motion, attacking the basket, and there he's able to use his height at 6'6" to elevate over the defender and score.
For you, Stephen, it feels like Eli Kane has been here a long time.
Man.
He's in his senior season.
He played with me, I feel like.
I don't know if we can go back that far, but it's close. But Eli, he came on the stage and was one of the best three-point shooters in the conference his freshman year. He has developed his game so much more since then. Inside Morrow, and a great feed from Howard. But Eli Kane is almost that forgotten guy for this DePaul team.
Well, he has gone from the second scorer to really the third scorer where he needs to be. And what I like about Eli is, you know, he sacrifices his game for the betterment of the team. And they really need him to be that dominant third scorer.
Transition 3 by Sam Hauser. See if that's the one that gets him going. His first field goal of the night.
And that's exactly what Marquette wants to do. Get the defensive rebound, because both these teams are exceptional offensive rebound, and then get out and go.
Strus ran into Hauser. Inside Alujabi had 2 men on him. Off of Alujabi, it's going to Marquette. It's the 6th turnover for the Blue Demons. A couple of nice possessions offensively back-to-back for Marquette.
Yeah, just great eyesight and great point guard vision by Marcus Howard, getting it to the interior, and then find your man in transition when they're open. Get it right into that shooter's pocket. That's good basketball by Marquette.
Brother to brother, just like they did in the front yard. Sam Hauser, turnaround, got the roll.
Sam Hauser is so good down in the paint. He has those kind of crafty old school moves. Pump fakes, get you a little bit off balance. I really like his interior game.
Nice move by Devin Gage, but a pin by Morrow. That'll be a goaltend. A couple of points for DePaul to get within 2.
For Devin Gage.
Devin Gage with 4 points now. A little late for Morrow. Sam Hauser on the curl. 3 for his last 3.
Yeah, I think you can say that Sam Hauser has found his range.
Oh, and a foul called on Morrow. He can't believe it. He thought he got a Lujaby.
Well, you might think that Theo John's the best shot blocker, but back to that last possession. Look, Sam Hauser has already hit 2 threes. You get this guy in rhythm going over his right shoulder. That's exactly the way that he wants to knock down the shots. He's really in his rhythm. You got to run him off the line, make him shoot some contested 2s.
Lujaby misses from the free throw line. He was 10 for 10 against Seton Hall over the weekend at the free throw line.
And a lot of that has to do with the fact that he hasn't been getting touches throughout this game. Really has no flow in his offensive game at all.
And Lujaby makes 1 out of 2. Lujaby on the season at 72%. There is Theo John replacing Morrow. Good minutes for Ed off the bench.
Yeah, really exceptional minutes by Ed Morrow. No drop down at all from the level of play when Theo John is in the game.
Hauser to Annam. Annam short on his jumper, and Paul Reed with a rebound. He averages just about 10 a game. Struess been quiet in this first half. Hauser's done a nice job on him. Struess driving, tough shot. Theo John got his hand on it.
Yeah, he did. Pretty high on the cylinder. Might have got away with one, but again, great rim protection and really an elite rim protector in Theo John.
It's a 3rd block for Theo John in this game. Tough shot, Howard, an air ball. Theo John right there to clean it up. And a chance for a 3-point play.
Number 4, Paul Reed.
6-point lead for Marquette. And Theo John grabbing that one in midair on the tough shot by Marcus Howard, who's going to get a little break.
Well, he really affected both sides of the court. First with the block, and now just Johnny on the spot. Being active, creating space, and getting that rebound now for the potential 3-point play. And again, elite rim protector. He timed that perfectly, got that ball at its apex. And would you say he's got 3 blocks already?
3 blocks. He had 5 in his last game against Providence on Sunday. And Theo John's knuckleball is good.
And that was a huge key for me, is the ability of Theo John to stay in the game, and he's doing exceptionally well in this game.
Tough shot by Eli Kane. Had a good look as well. Jamal Kane is on the floor for Marquette for the first time. Inside, Theo John had it ripped away by Eli Kane. And Theo John will go to the line. Marquette extending their lead. They are up by 7 here in Milwaukee. Seven at their home floor, but both Hauser brothers, they have had quite the week. Sam, first and foremost, he was the player of the week. Joey was the freshman of the week in the Big East. But how about these notable brothers? Ed and Charles O'Bannon, the Morris brothers, Markeith and Marcus at Kansas. And then the Harrison brothers, Andrew and Aaron at Kentucky. And I think Wojo knows about the Plumlee brothers a bit.
Yeah, he was the assistant on that coaching staff, coaching them, and now coaching another set of brothers that are exceptional in their own right, the Hauser boys. And, you know, what I like about both of them is they both really elevated their game once they got into Big East play. You saw Sam Hauser against Georgetown, I think a game that you called, he just went off for 31 when Marcus Howard went down with the bad back, and then the younger Joey Hauser is playing exceptional as well. In Big East play, he's shooting 51.2%. That's top 13 in the conference, and so, look, high hopes for the younger Joey Hauser, but both of them together, a mean tandem.
Sam was awarded basketball before the game today, honoring his 1,000 points scored. As Theo John knocks down a free throw, Steve Wojciechowski giving him a basketball, representing that 1,000-point achievement. Stephen Howard is still waiting for his basketball.
Still waiting.
His alma mater.
We'll just let that go.
Just saying.
Just saying.
You were only a couple of points shy of 2,000 as well, right? So maybe 2 basketballs.
Bad point management on my part.
Devin Gage trying to get around Chartuni. Now Strus. Tough shot for Strus. Marquette's done a really nice job on Strus all night long. A grapple for the basketball. Lujubi ends up with it in his hands. And it's a jump ball. It's going to stay with DePaul. Femi Lujubi all over the floor trying to get that basketball.
Well, for Femi, that's the only time he can get some touches. He's usually getting a little bit more the last 3 games. But I like that about him. You got to go on the floor and make it happen. But, yeah, you mentioned the good defense on Max Strus going 1 for 5. Now pay attention on this out-of-bounds play. Whenever Max Strus is the inbounder, the play is for him.
Goes into the hands of Lujubi. Now Kane with Sakarianum on him.
Good defense by Marquette.
Reset with 17 to shoot. Lujubi finds the double. Someone's open. It's Strus. And Max Strus is 1 for his first 6. Offensive rebound, Schreiner. Good defense. Theo John with the rebound.
Yeah, time, situation, and score. That's when Derek Schreiner needs to realize, look, he's in the paint, not in his area. Pull the ball out, run a play. But, yeah, Strus is really playing uncomfortable basketball. And you got to credit the defensive scheme of Marquette.
Fighting a little bit early for Max Strus. 1 for 7. From the floor, Theo John battling down low. John too strong. Rebound, Kane, no. Tapped out of bounds and now into the hands of Lujubi.
I like the fire, though, by Theo John, even though he didn't make that basket. And you can tell he's been hearing about the DePaul's big 3 all week long, and he wants to prove that he's very able to score offensively as well.
Eli Kane, the throwaway. Strus touches it. It's a backcourt violation. Kane a little bit out of control there on the other end. Another turnover for DePaul. It's the 7th for DePaul. There is Max Strus. Mentioned the numbers so far in this first half. Very un-Strus-like.
Yeah, you know, 1 for 7, really struggling. And the thing that's different from Max Strus in this game is he's taking bad shots. And normally he's way more patient looking for his shot. And he's just very rushed in this game offensively.
Joey Hauser, no call on the floor. Both ended up on their backsides, Joey Hauser and Max Strus. Dave Vallejo up in arms about it. Marcus Howard back on the floor. Howard floater, no. Strus was right there. Howard ended up on his backside.
Yeah, good job by Strus going straight up and causing that poor shot.
And a travel on Devin Gage. 8th turnover for DePaul. Boy, these refs are letting him play.
Yeah, and that's when Devin Gage needs to understand. You see him try to go inside, and he just drags that foot trying to do the Euro step. And you got to be more patient and really pick your spots.
Euro +1 on that one. Joey Hauser wide open. Knocked it down.
Poor defensive possession for DePaul. You can't lose sight of any of the Hauser brothers as well as Marcus Howard.
Lujubi, nice seal off by Theo John. And before the shot, a foul as Theo John and Lujubi were going one-on-one. And John picks up the personal.
Theo John doing a great job of just being physical. And you're seeing all these players going up against him and losing their balance just because he's just so strong and imposing in the paint.
He's a sophomore, folks, not built like most 19 or 20-year-olds. He came on campus at Marquette looking like a man already.
Yeah, there's grown men that aren't built like Theo John.
And now he and Butts going toe-to-toe. There's the double from Joey Hauser, swinging around. And Marcus Howard called for a foul. For Marcus, it's his first. Didn't think so.
I really like the defensive scheme, though, by Marquette in this first half. They're doubling the post right when they get the ball, and I thought Marcus Howard did a good job of staying in front of Eli Kane.
There's a little bit of contact in there, not a lot. In this day and age, though, doesn't take a lot. There's Lyric Schreiner from three. Too short. Theo John tapped it out of bounds, and it's going to be off of officials talking to one another. Nobody saw it.
Well, if he asks Marquette's bench, it's going their way.
At Fiserv Forum, I think the majority of the fan base would say it's going their way as well, but it's going to stay with DePaul. I just don't think they had any sort of view on it. Eli Kane's foot with it out of bounds.
Yeah.
I see the beef. Strus ran right into Sam Hauser. And it's going to Marquette. Man, Sam Hauser has done an excellent job defensively in this first half.
Absolutely. And that's a situation right there where watch Max Strus go in the lane. This is where he needs to just go straight up. But he's trying to search out the contact instead of just realizing that he's a shooter. He can make that shot. And again, credit the defensive scheme by Marquette. Really frustrating Max Strus in this first half.
Sam Hauser's going to go to the line. Another phenomenal free throw shooter. Marquette has 3 of the top 6 free throw shooters in the conference. Howard, Hauser, and Hauser.
Is that a LOP or an LLC?
I think both are Esquires, yeah.
Next representation if I ever, need some legal help. From Hauser, and Howard.
Put it on the door. They're going to be here for a while. Strus trying to get around Sam. Eli Kane going around the edge. There's Lyric Schreiner again from 3. And Lyric finally knocks down a three-pointer.
And that's something that he did last game when they defeated Seton Hall. Hit a huge 3 under the 4-minute mark. And I think that's one of the reasons why you're seeing him on the floor right now, building up that confidence from his head coach, Coach Lato.
Shot clock is off. Marquette can play for the last shot. Howard's got it in his hands. Howard with the floater. Couldn't get it. Howard rebound. Howard got it. Right place, right time. Marcus Howard. Devin Gage looked like he traveled with a basketball. Evidently not, but a 13-point lead for Marquette. And Howard has 10.
Look, just the presence of mind of he throws it up, he catches it in the air, and that's a high degree of difficulty, high basketball IQ. Marcus Howard leading his
40-27, that's our score. Marquette out in front of DePaul here in Milwaukee. We'll send it to Rob Stone and the guys in Los Angeles. Jeep Grand Cherokee halftime report is coming up. Don't go anywhere. This one far from over from Fiserv Forum. The Marquette Golden Eagles at home against the DePaul Blue Demons. And we welcome you courtside again, everybody, along with Stephen Howard, Jeff Levering with you. And man, Marquette went on some sort of flurry there the last 5 minutes, outscoring DePaul 12-3. And the momentum just totally shifted in this game.
Yeah, and I thought they did a great job at the start of the game, dictating the pace and the tempo. But their big 3, Sam and Joey Hauser and Marcus Howard with 29 points, controlled every facet of the game. And right now, as you mentioned, Marquette, all the momentum, all the mojo.
Take a look at our first half stats. They're presented by Jeep Grand Cherokee as well. 3-point shooting, Marquette is it's kind of their gold standard, 5 for 11 so far, but the game really shifted. There were a couple of technical fouls, one on Dave Lato, the other on Jalen Butts. About the midway point of the half, it was a 4-point lead at that time for DePaul, and then everything just shifted in Marquette's favor, outscoring DePaul 28-11 after that. And you see Marcus Howard, Sam Hauser, and Joey Hauser combining for 29 points.
And that's really the tail of that first half. Their big 3 dominated. The big 3 on the interior for DePaul with Strus only had 13 points. And again, credit Marquette. At the start of the game, they really limited all the looks on the interior for DePaul.
Strus has just 3 points, 1 of 8 from the floor in that first half. Howard running around a double, and he was on the end line, and a turnover to start the first possession of the second half for Marquette.
And you're seeing the defense against Marcus Howard working on that possession. Max Strus stayed with Howard the entire possession, and that forced him to go out of bounds.
Wojo getting a refill on that water for the second half. Kind of guy that goes through the throat lozenges and the water
Right.
very, very quickly over the course of a game. Femi Alujabi finally gets loose. Alujabi very quiet as well in that first half.
That was a picture poison play. Max Strus came off the pin down, and he saw the hard hedge on him and hit it to the wide open Alujabi.
Hauser in the corner wouldn't fall for him. Had a good look. Nice touch pass, too, from Theo John.
Again, though, you got to credit the defense of Marquette in this game. I've seen Max Strus have poor games, but never has he been frustrated like he was in that first half.
Offensive foul on Eli Kane. Dave Lato was less than pleased on that possession by Kane. They're running through a couple of different screens. Dave Lato just trying to get some continuity with his offense.
Yeah, a lot of mental mistakes in that first half and even to start this second half by DePaul. You can't have that on the road.
The things that they haven't been doing on the road. There's Joey Hauser. And Devin Gage up ahead. Nice transition defense. Marquette able to get back. Eli Kane underneath, and a foul on Theo John. That'll be his second.
And that's when I like Devin Gage being aggressive in transition. I felt like he could even have taken a little bit deeper. And Kane, again, with that 6'6" frame, able to elevate over the opposing player and just initiates that contact with Theo John.
5 points for Kane in the first half. Couple of boards, couple of assists. Played all but 1 minute. And I think his biggest contribution has come on the defensive end. He's done a nice job on Marcus Howard.
Yeah, and he's historically done well against Marcus Howard. But again, they need more of a team effort, both offensively and defensively, to get back into this game.
Marcus has had a tough go of it in his career against DePaul, and it's because they put Eli Kane on him. Kane usually locks up on the toughest offensive player. Over the weekend, it was Miles Powell, his childhood friend from Philly. Theo John getting in the way there, and now Paul Reed pokes it away from Joey Hauser.
One thing that makes you afraid with Marcus Howard is that he can go off in a half and have a 5-point half and a 40-point half.
He's done it, did it against Buffalo. There's Paul Reed, and Paul Reed knocks it through his first 3 of the night. He has 8 points.
Again, Paul Reed is an anomaly. They don't run plays for him, and then at the end of the night, he'll have 22 points and 12 rebounds.
A 6-0 run to start this second half for DePaul. Marquette still is yet to score a point. Joey Hauser, good ball fake. Sakar Annam scoreless in the first half. Spinning around, and Annam short. Annam has had a great Big East Conference so far as Paul Reed makes it a 5-point game, and here come the Blue Demons. Steve Wojciechowski wants a timeout.
DePaul fighting back into this game. Look, the 3-ball one going for him in the first half, so look, sway away from Max Strus. Paul Reed to the rescue. Buckets, DePaul down 5.
Down to just a 5-point lead right now for the Golden Eagles, and it's been Paul Reed with 5 of the 8.
Yeah, you know, Kevin Durant for me in the NBA, break the glass when you need offense, but for the Blue Demons, break the glass for Paul Reed when you need something to happen. Offensively, defensively with a steal, he just makes things happen, and you're seeing DePaul fighting back and really getting those 50-50 baskets, 50-50 rebounds, loose balls, crawling back into this game, and they're doing it with effort behind Paul Reed.
10 points. He's the first in double figures for the Blue Demons so far tonight. Marquette 0 for their first 3 in this second half with 2 more turnovers. Give them 9 in the game.
Yeah, both teams pretty sloppy in this game with turnovers, and those aren't going to win you a lot of Big East games.
And there's another one. Sam Hauser trying to get position down low on Max Strus. Got his hand up a little high. Strus draws the charge on Sam Hauser.
That's the same call that Sam Hauser got in that first half. I don't know. I think it might have been against Alujabi. It worked for you. It worked for me.
Drew the technical right after that as well, did Jalen Butts. After Sam Hauser got the charge. That's what led to that great Marquette run to end that first half. And a kick violation on Marcus Howard on that entry pass.
Marquette doing a good job of extending their defense, forcing Max Strus way out by the M. And again, that entry pass by Devin Gage, Marcus Howard able to get his foot on it.
Starting the half strong is DePaul. They started the first half this same way before Marquette asserted themselves. Reed on Joey Hauser. Reed spinning around. And a travel. Too much from Paul Reed. And you saw Dave Lato calm yourself down.
I think as a whole, that was probably Coach Lato's talk during halftime. And you see Paul Reed, for his side, very adept at ball handling, just tried to do a little too much on that possession.
Let's see if Marcus Howard gets himself going in this second half. 10 points in the first. Howard kicks Sakar Annam, and he is still 0 for the night. Sakar Annam stuck on a goose egg.
Very fortunate possession for DePaul. You had two bigs on Marcus Howard, but they got the person they wanted to shoot in Sakar Annam from distance.
Paul Reed trying to take it to Joey Hauser. Going around the edge, and Theo John went up for the block. He's got 4.
And again, Paul Reed trying to do a little bit too much. Get it to your point guards. You're a finisher, not a facilitator.
Inside, Marcus Howard, the leader, and Theo John with the follow and the foul.
Good job by Theo John. Marcus Howard's so good in between the lines, but you can't just wait for him to score. Theo John being relentless on the offensive glass, not giving up, going up for the tip dump. Just love his presence in the paint during this game. He's really been that X factor.
Paul Reed is going to stay in the game. He initially went over to the sidelines. Alujabi is going to check out. Theo John with 9 and 7.
Jeff, that's when the coach is angry at one player, and then another player does another bad play, and it's just like, okay, which one of these guys am I going to take out?
I got to keep one of them on the floor. Who am I going to stick with? Devin Gage wide open. They'll give him that shot. No whistle, and Howard is down. Strus open look, and Max Strus couldn't hit it. Strus with his own rebound, and Howard still fighting it. Jalen Butts underneath, and Sam Hauser ends up in the hands of Reed, and there was a foul underneath, and Marcus Howard still crouched down. He's been dealing with back issues. Not sure this is on that side. Up by 8, Marquette. Cherokee. Back at Fiserv Forum in Milwaukee, 43-35. Marquette out in front of DePaul, and we mentioned Marcus Howard a little hobbled before the break. Here's why.
And?
Ouch.
Yeah. Yep.
Howard's going to stay on the floor. There he is. Seems to be okay.
Yeah, you just want to shake it off.
Deep breaths.
Yes. Woosah.
Yep. Inbounds to Jalen Butts. And there is Max Strus knocks down another jumper. DePaul really needs to get him going. He's got 5 points in this game, just his second field goal of the contest.
And like Marcus Howard, Max Strus can get it going quickly. Whenever you have a player that can shoot from distance like he can, it just takes a little bit to get him going.
Strus on Sam Hauser. There's Joey getting around Paul Reed. Had it knocked away momentarily into the corner for Sam. Now Chartouni for 3. Chartouni!
Where has he been? I remember covering the game early on in the season, and I thought he was going to play a vital role, and he kind of, lost some confidence, and so that three-pointer for him is going to be huge.
He had a 7-steal game earlier in the year against Bethune-Cookman. His three-point game has been struggling, to say the least. Shot clock winding down. 4 to shoot. Devin Gage up and over Marcus Howard.
You see DePaul, a lot more ball movement in this half. First half, a lot of hero ball, one-on-one ball, but good job of sharing the basketball in the second half.
Draws the double with Kane and Gage. Howard going around Eli Kane out of bounds. And it's going to go to DePaul. Go back to Chartouni. When you're open, take the shot.
Yeah, and good job by Hauser drawing the defense and kicking it open to the wide open shooter. And when you're a shooter, you got to shoot. Chartouni did a good job on that possession.
First 3 of the game, or the second half, I should say, for Marquette. First of the game for Chartouni. And I'm about ready to check back in for Marquette. Kane with Chartouni on him. Led the nation in steals last year. The alley-oop off the rim for Paul Reed.
Yeah, just a little hard.
And a travel on Marcus Howard. He wanted to go. Hesitated momentarily to cost him. Turnover number 11.
Yeah, not a clean game by either side today. But that's more important for DePaul because when you're on the road, you cannot afford to lose any sort of possessions.
And this is where DePaul has really thrived, has been on the road. They're 2-1. Strus underneath. And now Paul Reed trying to finish it. And Paul Reed does.
And that's what Paul Reed does. He goes after every offensive rebound. One of the best out-of-the-area rebounder, in my estimation, in the country.
Back to a 5-point lead for Marquette. Keeping his dribble, Chartouni with 2 Blue Demons on him. Hannum inside, and a jump ball. Jalen Butts did an excellent job reaching in and creating another turnover. It's going to go to the Blue Demons.
Jeff, not only Jalen Butts, with this whole possession, look at the active hands. Paul Reed with the grab. Devin Gage with the grab, going behind the back. Hands everywhere. Attacking the basket. Jalen Butts reach and then grab. Look, you got to be strong with the basketball if you're going to attack the paint against the Blue Demons. They are relentless at going after the ball.
Ed Morrow on the floor, spelling Theo John. 7 turnovers in the first half for Marquette. They have 6 in the first 6+ minutes of this second half. Kane trying to find Butts in and out of his hands. Numbers for Marquette if they go. Joey Hauser fouled, and he'll go to the line.
Smart play by Max Strus, not giving up the easy buckets. On the other side of the court, though, Eli Kane, got to know your personnel. Got to know who you're passing it to. Butts not ready for that pass.
Kane, one of the best assist-to-turnover ratio guys in the conference. The only guy, by the way, in DePaul basketball history with over 1,400 points, 350 assists, and 153s.
Really? Only?
Only. The only guy. You are not on that list, unfortunately, and I checked.
Wow.
Did you think you had better numbers than that?
No, I'm just
Still waiting for your 2 basketballs for your almost 2,000 points.
right. Man, still sore about that.
Strus inside to Butts, fronting Hauser. And Jalen Butts couldn't get it. Alujabi, he'll go to the line. Offensive rebounding is a huge part of this game. DePaul and Marquette, 2 of the best teams in the conference, at doing that.
And talking to Coach Wojciechowski shoot-around today, he stressed to his team, look, when the ball goes up, you have to put a body on their bigs because they're going to attack the glass. And you saw Femi Alujabi do a great job of, he was just unhindered. No one even looked at him. And then got the offensive rebound.
8 boards for Alujabi. And winning the rebound battle is so important for DePaul, too. This season, they are 11-2 when they are positive rebound advantage. 0-4 when they lose the boards.
Well, that's their bread and butter, going to the interior and attacking and being relentless like that. And that's what they did not do at the beginning of this game. And credit Marquette for really getting them out of their offensive scheme.
Just a 4-point game. There's the X factor for DePaul on their bench.
That's the hype factor.
Hype, X, you gotta have it.
Yeah. Everybody needs a hype man.
Pantelius Exidius is that guy. Down low to Morrow. Inside Sam Hauser with the left hand. Nice finish.
I tell people, if you can't be that excited about all of my success, then we just can't be friends.
They're trying to run to the point. Extending Morrow's Alujabi. And a turnover trying to hit Alujabi was Butts, and Schreiner there to pick up the loose ball. A jump ball. It's going to go to Marquette. Take a quick timeout. And Marquette leading by the slimmest of margins.
Great job of interior passing. Sam Hauser, patient, buckets, Marquette with the lead.
Cat up by 6 at home, 11:52 to play in the second half in Milwaukee. Saturday, it's a huge welterweight title fight as undefeated Keith Thurman defends his belt against Jose Cito Lopez. It's live from Barclays Center, Saturday at 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific, only on Fox, the Fox Sports app.
Those guys look intense.
Yeah, I'm not doing that. No shot.
Like there's an art form to the stare down.
I don't have that. Dave Lato has that kind of boxer mentality and that stare down too.
Yeah. I mean, you can't go into the stare down or the pre-promo shots like, hey, you need to get my better side. You know, just take this on a different side.
Trying to get Marcus Howard engaged here in the second half. He's scoreless so far. Chartouni finds Sakarian. He's scoreless in the game. Chartouni got his man of the year. Sam Hauser from the corner. Bang! Took him a while to get going in the first half.
And Jeff, that was predicated by the pump fake. Coach Wojo told his team that DePaul bites on the fake. Good job by Chartouni elevating DePaul and getting an open shot for his teammate.
Back to a 9-point lead and a foul on Sakarian as he held Max Strus trying to get to the paint. Nice ball movement and a better ball fake.
Yeah, watch Chartouni just, yep, nothing over there. Passes it over to Sam Hauser, and good ball movement. You draw the defense, hit it to the open man. Simple basketball.
Forced Paul Reed to come off his man to help out because Devin Gage is at the midline. Strus still stuck on just 5 points in this game. 5 to shoot. There's Strus. And Chartouni with a rebound and down low, a foul. And I think they're going to get Sam Hauser.
Look at this shot, Jeff. I don't know if he felt like the defensive player was reaching. Yeah, he did. And actually, he did get fouled on that possession. Smart play by Strus trying to really get something going by for his team, but the officials didn't pick that foul up.
Sam Hauser did get a foul, trying to get the defensive rebound on the other end. He's on the bench now with 3 fouls. Gage wide open from 3, and Devin Gage. Not necessarily his game. I think Marquette will give him that all night long.
Yeah, I mean, he's shooting 13%, and Marquette and the coaching staff, Marquette will live with Devin Gage shooting from 3.
And another turnover as Chartouni went out of bounds, was the first to touch it when he came back in. These turnovers haven't started to affect Marquette, but now you start to see DePaul taking advantage of them. They have 14 turnovers in the game, 7 in this half.
Yeah, this could be a huge swing if DePaul can score on this possession.
Not on Ed Morrow. Wow, did he get up to get that one?
I mean, who's the elite rim protector for Marquette?
And him inside, still can't hit a bucket. Back on defense. Theo John and Morrow have been great defensively. And a blocking foul as Strus went right into Joey Hauser. And Steve Wojciechowski saying that Max Strus threw an elbow.
Marquette foul, 22, Joey Hauser.
Great job, really, by Max Strus, initiating contact. Joey Hauser just didn't retreat back to the rim. Really easy call for the officials to make.
You got 1-and-1 now for DePaul. And foul shots from here on out for the Blue Demons. Strus makes the first. Back to a 5-point game. Still so much time left. 10 minutes, 11 seconds. Strus, again, we've mentioned how good Marquette has been defensively on him. Just 2 for 12 from the floor, but a couple of free throws here to make it a 4-point contest.
Well, Coach Wojciechowski said they need to know where Max Strus is once he enters the arena, and they definitely have that Strus awareness, not allowing him any sort of comfort offensively.
Look at the size on Howard. Now Theo John. It's worked all night.
And that's where you're in your game. Marcus Howard did not get sped up. Waited for his roll man, Theo John, to get around the rim. And Theo, so big and imposing in the paint, presented himself to get an easy bucket for the Golden Eagles.
Lujubi picked up his dribble. 10 to shoot for DePaul.
No offensive flow right now for DePaul.
Devin Gage trying to do too much. Paul Reed trying to keep it alive into the hands of Chartouni. Numbers for Marquette. Theo John splits the defense and a foul on Devin Gage. John will go to the line as the flow offensively for the Blue Demons has started to fall apart a bit.
Well, poor defensive recognition by DePaul. Watch Devin Gage once he gets by the rim. You see, look, 4 white jerseys, and Devin Gage had his back turned because that was that Hauser awareness, Joey Hauser on the wing. But you can't forget where the ball is. You can't forget where that trailing big is, and really just a poor, really poor defensive transition by the Blue Demons.
Theo John misses from the free throw line for Theo. That's his first miss from the charity stripe. Working on a double-double, 12 points, 7 rebounds. And staying out of foul trouble, Stephen. You mentioned that as we came on the air today. He's got to stay on the floor with the size of DePaul, and he's done it.
Yeah, and there's no other team like DePaul in the Big East that has that wave of bigs. But I really believe that Theo John in Big East play needs to average over double figures. He's very capable, and they need that balance offensively.
Jamal Cain into the ball game for Marquette, trying to front Strus. Just over 9 minutes to play. 7 to shoot. Double comes for Strus, and he threw it away. And a nice defensive possession for Marquette, but a little sloppy on the offensive end for DePaul.
Extremely sloppy, but again, credit the defensive scheme by the Golden Eagles. Really frustrating Max Strus throughout this game.
Sam Hauser comes back onto the floor with his 3 fouls. Leading the way with 15 points, leading all scorers. Reigning Big East Player of the Week. Had a career-high 31 last Tuesday in Washington, D.C. Howard has yet to score a point in the second half. Theo John, nice move around Paul Reed.
Strong move by Theo John. Just up, disregarding the defender, and just with an exclamation point.
And Reed up and over the backboard. Out of bounds, had a good look, but not the shot Dave Lato wants to see from the Blue Demons.
Look, Paul Reed is 3 for 9 on the season, but back to this dunk. Again, Marcus Howard, very patient offensively, lets the play develop and waits for Theo John to really be that player he's been all day long for the Golden Eagles.
With a turnover for Marquette. Strus feeds Gage. Gage around the edge. And Reed with the left hand. Whenever Marquette has gotten a little mini run in this second half, DePaul has come right back. They've had an answer. Howard using the left hand and threw it away again. Back-to-back possessions with turnovers for Marcus Howard. Strus driving with a right hand, and Strus finished.
Good defense that possession by Eli Cain with the size really affecting Marcus Howard, and Max Strus taking it coast to coast. Big momentum swing by DePaul.
Steve Wojciechowski wants a timeout. Theo John's been strong for Marquette, but DePaul not going anywhere.
Hey, Theo John in the paint, going up strong. Look, pivot, dunk. Hey, Max Strus has got an answer with the right. DePaul down 4.
Wojciechowski in the huddle moments ago, trying to find some more keys to this game and stopping DePaul.
Take care of the ball. Take care of the ball. Take care of the ball. If there is a turnover, you can't
try back. We got to sprint back. Okay, Strus is going to try to go off. Just stay connected on him.
First, ball security. You got to take care of the basketball, especially against a team like DePaul that can go off on any minute, and then he knows the guy that wants to take over, and that's Max Strus. He's trying to be aggressive, but again, credit the defense of Marquette. Really frustrating Max Strus all night long.
Marcus Howard, by the way, has taken just one shot in the second half. He's finding different ways, however, to impact this game. 8 assists for Marcus. Eli Kane's done such a nice job on him.
Yeah, he really has. One away from his career high at 9. And Jeff, you don't become 5th in the nation in scoring, assisting on a lot.
Hauser at the expiration of the shot clock.
And that is reviewable.
And they will review it. That was close. And a huge shot from Sam Hauser. They will take a look to see if they beat it.
No, that's not good.
Very close. Remember at the end of the Creighton game, how close that was. They got credit for that 3 to send it into overtime as Marcus Howard went off for 53 in that overtime victory, and now this shot is under review. We'll take one more look at Hauser. This is a great shot of it. That ball is still in his fingers at 0.
Yeah, that's pretty decisive. And officials, previously they would call all 3 officials to review, but if it's something easy like that, 2 can make the call. And that's what happened on that review.
So no bucket for Sam Hauser. Took that extra step to get around the defender. And that's the 10th turnover this half for the Golden Eagles.
2-possession ball game. Big possession for the Blue Demons.
Butts on the floor. The Strus and Kane. There is Strus. And Theo John skies for another rebound, his 8th.
Strus knew he missed that shot the second it left his hands, and you saw him attack the rim immediately trying to get that offensive rebound.
And a foul will be on Strus. His 3rd. Howard was trying to get around him. So one more to give for DePaul in this second half.
You've seen the defense on Marcus Howard. But again, you mentioned it earlier, Marcus Howard being very patient and turning into a facilitator in this game.
And a jump ball initiated by Devin Gage. It's another turnover. The 11th of the second half. That was a very quick jump ball call.
It really was. But again, from the beginning of this game, DePaul very aggressive with their hands and really going for the steal or to tie players up offensively. You got to be strong with the ball.
Blue Demons not going anywhere. A gritty team trying to get above 500 in Big East play. Butts had it altered by Theo John. Marcus Howard going the other way for Marquette.
Theo John just carving out space and protecting it in the paint for Marquette.
There's the flow to the first points of the second half for Marcus Howard.
But none of that would have happened without Theo John really initiating that fast break with that defense.
5 blocks for Theo John and a foul on Joey Hauser. That'll be his 3rd. Getting a little tight in Milwaukee.
Under 6 minutes, late execution. You know, that's really what distinguishes great teams from good teams.
Hasn't been a ton of flow to this whole second half for either team. Reed knocks down the first.
But really, if you're a team like DePaul coming on the road, you want to muck up the game a little bit and take away the flow.
That's what Marquette thrives on. Reed gets a pair. 16 points for Reed to lead the Blue Demons. Looking down low to Hauser. Joey is down on the other end as Marcus Howard is fouled in the act of shooting. They'll get Eli Kane and 3 free throws for Marcus Howard. I was looking at Joey Hauser on the side close to us. He went down in a heap. Watch him here. You just saw him at the bottom of the screen. There's a foul on Howard. He's going to go to the line and shoot 3.
Yeah, I don't know about that foul. It's kind of a lot of times defenders like to fake and act like they're going to hit the body and don't. And Marcus might have got away with one on that possession.
For Howard, he's perfect from the free throw line today, 6 for 6. He hasn't been to the free throw line since he shot 4 straight technical free throws when Butts and Dave Lato picked up tees in the first half. And he's perfect from the free throw line tonight.
Femi Alujabi just got him into the game. Look to DePaul to try to get him going. I'd like to see him try to establish something on the block.
Tries for 3. Devin Gage trying to keep it alive into the hands of Sakarian. Up ahead, Theo John. Theo John on the run.
Jeff, when you come into the game, you've been sitting on the bench for a minute. You don't try to make your imprint on the game by shooting a 3, particularly when you're not a three-point shooter.
Fiserv is alive.
Take the floor somewhere unexpected. Everything you need is at your fingertips and at the Home Depot. On-trend styles with innovations to make it pet-proof, make it life-proof, make it waterproof, make it beautiful. The Home Depot has everything you need to make it yours. Get free installation on carpet, $699 or more. The Home Depot. More saving, more doing.
Little 5-0 run right now for Marquette, and turning a bad shot from DePaul into instant offense.
Yeah, this is basically a turnover by DePaul, and it initiates their offense, and Theo John does an exceptional run out and gets an easy bucket, and that's when you have to execute down the stretch, and that's kind of shades of what DePaul was doing earlier this year against Northwestern, against Boston College, not executing down the stretch.
Career high 16 for Theo John to go with his 8 rebounds.
Theo John has really played well today.
Struce going on Sam Hauser. Theo John with another block to alter the shot. Alujabi trying to get around John, and John altered that shot as well. And a foul on Paul Reed. Boy, the big man from the Twin Cities.
I mean, Theo John's a one-man wrecking crew. I mean, he's making it happen offensively. He affects his shots, gets his finger on it to make this miss and force that miss by Max Strus, and Femi knows that Theo John is there and then tries to take a poor shot, really trying to initiate contact in the wall. That is Theo John. Get off me! Get off me! It's just sunning fools in the paint.
The great wall of Theo.
Man. And that wall is not moving.
No, it is not. That is a very sturdy wall. Theo John couldn't knock down his front end of the 1-and-1. He's done plenty tonight to factor in this game. Devin Gage getting around Sam Hauser with a right hand. Tough shot, Devin Gage.
You know, when a guy's affecting the game like Theo John, you want to get him up around the three-point line, force him to get away from the paint, put him in pick-and-roll type situations.
Howard trying to create space around Kane. And before the shot, there was a foul. And they'll get Eli Kane. You mentioned the defense for Theo John. 5 more blocks tonight. Gives him 18 in his last 5 games.
Yeah, I mean, I can't say enough about the game that Theo John has been playing. Initially, the story coming in was the big 3 of DePaul. Paul Reed, Femi Alujabi, and Jalen Butts. But, I mean, one guy, Theo John, has really outshined all 3 of them.
And Ed Morrow's only played 8 minutes in this game off the bench.
But even Ed Morrow's been productive. He's come in and had a couple blocks. So the front line of Marquette playing exceptional tonight.
Marcus Howard with a couple more free throws. 17 points, kind of quietly for Marcus.
DePaul's going to have to make a defensive stand and get some stops along with some buckets in order to make a run late in this game.
Needs Strus to come alive as well, and it's going to stay with DePaul as we go to a break in Milwaukee. Up by 9 of the 12th ranked Golden Eagles here at home. Sponsored by SoFi. Get your money right. Possession arrow with Marquette up by 9. Only one timeout left for the Golden Eagles. Both teams with 8 team fouls. This was a 4-point game with 5:45 left to go. So in just under 2 minutes of game action, Marquette has started to separate themselves a little bit. So for you, Steven, trying to get DePaul back into this one offensively, you obviously have to look at Max Strus and try and get himself going. But the big three, the big boys down low, Olujobi, Reed, and the likes have to really get themselves going.
Well, you think about how Marquette really got their lead in this game. Defensive stops in transition, and they got their shooters open looks. Sam and Joey Hauser. That's what DePaul needs to do. Get stops and get some easy in transition.
Inside, Paul Reed lost the handle big time, and Sam Hauser skies to go get it. Paul Reed kind of with an ill-advised foul and more free throws, and you can see it on the face of Dave Lato and on the face of Paul Reed, who just picked up his 4th personal foul. Kind of a double mistake there for Paul.
Yeah, and that's a teaching moment, and that's what you see Coach Lato doing. You don't exacerbate the problem by adding a foul to it, and that's what he did. But you gotta love the heart of Paul Reed, though. I mean, he plays every moment of the game.
Yeah, he does. He's a grinder, super athletic, and a guy who didn't really pick up basketball until later in high school. And then he comes to DePaul, and he is just skyrocketed in terms of the way that he's played the game from last year to this year. He's just a sophomore.
Yeah.
Still tough.
Yeah, and you look at really the youth of DePaul, and it's bode well for the future. But Paul Reed, I really feel like can be the next big star for the Blue Demons.
Devin Gage ran right into the wall of Theo. Now Strus for 3. Strus buried it. DePaul needed it.
Yeah, it did. That was huge possession, huge second chance scoring opportunity by DePaul. But at what point do you realize that Theo John is not going anywhere? And I don't mind you testing him, but he's proven his ability in the paint in this game.
6 blocks for Theo John, 8 in the game for Marquette. Out around Gage. Howard with the left hand, no. And Olujobi with a rebound. DePaul looking for more points.
Nice.
Alley-oop. Paul Reed didn't look pretty, but it counts all the same.
And that's what you got to get. Get out in transition, but first you got to get the stop, get the defensive rebound. Really great managing the game on that possession by Devin Gage.
18 for Reed. Remember, Marquette with only 1 timeout left and a lot of time to go in this game.
And that's what's going to benefit Marquette is it normally takes a lot of time for them to go through their offensive set.
Joey Hauser kept alive by Sam Hauser. Strus got one right on the bridge of his nose, but Sam Hauser cleans up Joey.
Yeah, and that's really in a basketball play. That's going to happen in basketball. But you saw Coach Wojo really getting excited, trying to get his team to get a defensive stop.
Strus looking into his eye like he's got a contact loose. Thought that there was supposed to be a foul, some contact with Sam Hauser. We'll go back to the contact up around the eyes of Max Strus.
And again, just guys going up for the ball, and that wasn't intentional or
incidental contact.
Yeah, nothing to see here, folks.
Strus to inbound, see how that affects him in the final 2:15. Gage with the left hand. He went up against Theo John, who swatted another one away. But there was a foul underneath. It was on Marcus Howard. It wasn't on Theo John, who may have just picked up another block, too.
And watch, when Devin Gage attacks the rim, no one touches Femi Olujobi. He walks into the paint and gets that offensive board. Something that Coach Wojciechowski told his team you cannot allow to happen in this game.
2:09 to play. Big free throws, and Olujobi hits the first. As mentioned, Olujobi was 10 for 10 from the free throw line in the win against Seton Hall on the road over the weekend. Part of 3 straight road games for DePaul. Seton Hall, of course, here at Marquette, and then to Providence this weekend.
And then you said something about his free throws, and then what happened?
He knocked both of them down.
Oh.
We were okay.
Okay. My bad.
I broke Paul Reed's streak earlier.
Oh.
Marcus Howard and a foul. And if that's on Eli Kane, he's done. That's his 5th. So DePaul is going to have to play without Eli Kane, their top defender on Marcus Howard, for the final 155. That is massive.
Yeah, you're right. Just his ability to really block the rim for Marcus Howard. Marcus Howard listed at 5'11". I think he's probably 5'7", 5'8". Eli Kane did a great job of just staying in front of him without that defense and really that experience. They're going to be asking a lot of Lyric Schreiner.
Eli Kane done with 6 points, and you put Marcus Howard, the best free throw shooter in the conference, on the line. He's 9 for 9, make it 10 for 10. Odd to see a stat line for Marcus Howard that doesn't have him making a 3-pointer. He's 0 for 2 today from beyond the arc. Doing a lot of work at the free throw line, though, where he's perfect still. Back to an 8-point lead, under 2 to play.
DePaul needs to try to get something quick on these possessions. You don't have time to use the shot clock.
Lyric Schreiner. Inside to Olujobi. And a foul on Theo John. You look at DePaul and where the scoring is going to come from right now in the final couple of minutes, and you look at Reed, Olujobi, and Strus. Gage and Schreiner, they're more known for their defensive prowess as opposed to their scoring. So if you're Marquette, you kind of swell for 3 guys.
Yeah, exactly. And Lyric Schreiner hit a huge three against Seton Hall, but you're going to see defense on Paul Reed and Femi Olujobi, and they're going to be able to stay on Max Strus. Really a perfect defensive scenario for the Golden Eagles.
Jalen Butts is getting ready to check in for Olujobi on a make. Another offensive threat, a great defender as well.
And both Butts and Paul Reed exceptional with their motor.
Another double-double for Femi Olujobi. 10 and 11, and make it 11 and 11. And now Jalen Butts checks in for Femi.
And I really think Femi needed to have one of those games like he did against St. John and against Seton Hall, a 20-plus game, in order for DePaul to come out victorious here.
Ton of pressure in the backcourt by DePaul, and now they sag back. Minute and a half to play in Milwaukee.
DePaul needs to bring out a trap or something to get the ball away from Marcus Howard.
And a foul on Devin Gage. Both teams in the bonus, so more free throws. That's not the guy you want to foul.
No, that's almost not fair, putting Marcus Howard, Sam Hauser, or Joey Hauser on the line. 3 of the best free throw shooters in the Big East Conference.
Howard 11 for 11 from the free throw line. They've done a nice job. 4 for 10 from the floor for Marcus Howard. Now with 19 points.
But I think this stat line is better for Marquette throughout Big East play. You got Howard with 20, Hauser with 19, and Joey Hauser with 10.
Well distributed on the scoring as opposed to getting 53 from one guy a night. Can't really guarantee that any night, of course.
But not only that, though, but players play better when they're getting touches.
A foul underneath, kind of a late whistle. Looked like Sakar Annam did enough to force a turnover, but instead, a foul called.
Yeah, a little trip of the foot by Sakar Annam, and it doesn't matter if it's intentional or not. I don't know who they called that. Did they call that on Sakar Annam?
Because they called it on Theo John.
Oh, really?
That's his 4th.
Wow. Better for DePaul, but Sakar actually fouled him first with the trip.
And Olujobi hits the first.
But DePaul really is out of the timeline of going inside. They need to go for quick hitters for this remaining 1:13 left in this game.
Just 5 for 17 from beyond the arc for DePaul in the game. 29% of Lujaby missed the back end. And Paul Reed comes away with a loose ball. Devin Gage, open three. Gage. And a foul on Femi Lujaby. And Theo John is going to be shooting free throws. A big miss by Gage after the offensive rebound.
You know, sometimes you're open for a reason, and you got to pick your poison against DePaul, and you're going to allow Devin Gage to shoot as opposed to Max Strus from the exterior.
Joey Hauser is going to be shooting these free throws, not Theo John. So 2 free throws for Joey Hauser. Again, 6th best in the conference. And he hits the first. Joey now with 11 points with 6 boards. His brother Sam with 19 and 5. Marcus Howard a quiet 21. Most of that done at the free throw line. 13 of his 21 from the charity stripe. Minute to play here in Milwaukee. Strus trying to get loose. Instead it's Paul Reed for 3. And he's short. Sam Hauser with a big rebound.
Marquette doing a good job throughout this game, forcing the players that they want to shoot for DePaul to shoot.
And sending Marcus Howard to the line almost on ice with 49 seconds left to go.
And, you know, talking to Coach Wojciechowski and shoot-around today, you know, he let his team know we're any team's season-defining win. And you got to recognize that bullseye on your chest, and told them, look, we can't come out slow like we have previously. And you got to credit the defensive game plan that they had on Max Strus.
Great scoring distribution today. 23 for Howard. Held Strus to 12 points.
But a frustrating 12. I haven't seen him this frustrated all season long.
Agreed. Lujaby knocks down a 3. They had to have it to try and give themselves a shot. It's an 8-point game. 40 seconds to go in Milwaukee. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
KFC Famous Bowls are only $3.
A whole way Friday on FS1. Number 5 Michigan battles Indiana in a conference showdown. It all tips off Friday, 6 Eastern on FS1 on the Fox Sports app. Michigan escaping almost 2 straight losses. Buzzer beater against Minnesota.
And nobody remembers the close ones. It's just if you got the dub.
It's all that matters down the stretch. And more free throws coming for Marquette. And Paul Reed picks up the personal. That is his 5th, so no more Kane, no more Reed.
And Reed is a big X factor to be missing, because he's a guy that always comes up with something. A loose ball, a tip out, a tip dunk, unexpected 3.
Reed leaves with those 18 points and 7 rebounds. Falls 3 boards short of his 4th consecutive double-double. Joey Hauser hits another free throw.
And now for Marquette, it's really just a free throw shooting game. One of the best free throw shooting teams in the Big East. DePaul's got to get something quick and then try to foul.
Listen, Marquette was far from perfect tonight. 19 turnovers. Didn't shoot the 3 very well. As Strus missed Schreiner with an offensive rebound. Schreiner trying to get it to Butts, and it's right in the hands of Sam Hauser. Shot clock is off, and Marquette can bleed the clock without a DePaul foul, and that's just what they'll do. This was a really gritty game. Marquette's going to end up winning by 10 points, but this game was far from a 10-point deficit for DePaul.
Absolutely. DePaul was in it all game long, and you mentioned the turnovers by Marquette with 19, but yeah, a good game and a good scheme by Marquette to come out victorious tonight.
6 straight wins for Steve Wojciechowski and the Marquette Golden Eagles as they defeat DePaul by a final score of 79-69 here in downtown Milwaukee. For Stephen Howard and our entire crew here in Milwaukee, I'm Jeff Ledering saying so long. Let's head back to Rob Stone and the boys back in L.A.
All right, so the Golden Eagles, 10 points better than DePaul tonight. Rob Stone, Steve